All right. Welcome to Getting Spiked with Reagan Distance. I am Coach Vera. I am filling in today. Our distance program right now is all over the place. We've got some that are racing later on today at JDL, a few that are getting ready, seven specifically are getting ready to go down to Alabama for the running lane cross country championships. So I'm here with senior Brennan Kaplan and
What's up?
junior Tate Shore. And we are just going to go over the last few weeks. We've been with the Thanksgiving holiday, and then just a few meets and days that kind of conflicted with us recording our latest episode. So we're just going to get into it and hopefully get some good insight from these guys. These are two of our best runners here at Reagan High School. Get a little insight from them on how the season is going as we transition from cross country to indoor track, and just a little bit of feedback from their previous races. So we'll go ahead and start with how are you guys doing?
Doing very, very good today.
Yeah, doing good.
Okay, so this will be interesting because usually I'm kind of telling you guys what we need to do at practice, but it's far and few between with us having so many runners on the team where I get to actually sit down and have that conversation. So first things first, both of you ran at the state championship for cross country. Can you give just a little insight on how that race went and good things, bad things, things you learned from, whether you're moving on to college or you're coming back from your senior year?
So for me personally, it wasn't great. I got out really well, and I was really confident going into it. I wasn't nervous at all, like I usually am. So I was confident going into it. Got out really well. My first kilometer was really good, and then I just really started to feel dizzy and a lot of lactic acid, and just really, really tired. And gradually throughout the race, like I was still definitely like trying my hardest, but I just gradually like faded back, and I ended up running my slowest time of the year. I think it was like 17:05 or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
17.
so and then I ended up in the med tent after the race for about 30 minutes with like ice packs on me. They're trying to feed me applesauce and stuff to try to get my like sugar and stuff right. And yeah, it ended up they thought it was a hydration issue. I got blood tests and stuff and everything was fine.
Yeah.
So it was probably just a really dry and hot day. But as for how I executed the race, like with how I like felt and how I like what I could have done, I thought I executed well, like getting out and when I felt normal. And then the rest of it was kind of just the circumstances. But other than that, I mean, I've been focusing on hydration a lot more since then, so that's definitely something positive that I've taken away from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that day it had kind of been cool, and then all of a sudden we were benefiting from an afternoon where it wasn't going to be too cold. It was just going to be just right, and then it just ended up heating up big time. So yeah, the hydration, I think it got a lot of people, just like it's gotten the last few weeks. As it gets colder, we ask everybody how much water you drank lately, or they're like, I haven't drank anything since what's the day, Monday, since Friday.
Yeah.
So it just kind of creeps up on you. And literally at the state championship, it really did for a lot of people, even spectators. I know there were a few spectators, parents, grandparents, stuff that were kind of passing out and collapsing. So, Tate, how about you?
Yeah, it was good. Like you and Brennan both said, it was very hot that day, which I don't think we were quite ready for. It was different from the other races, but getting out, I thought it was pretty good. I was in the top pack. There was probably, I mean, it was pretty crazy from the get go. Everybody, tells you to get out because everybody just bolts at the start. So I got out really well, and I was sitting up front with the leaders, like 10, 15 of us, I'd say, through about the mile and a half, and then it really started to just string away from there once we got past the 2 mile. I felt like I ran a pretty good race. That was my second best time at Ivy overall, just 2 seconds off from regionals. So it was a really good race. I didn't finish quite as well as I wanted to, but I was still able to close pretty well. So overall, it was a good day.
That's good. And I guess this is a little bit different than our previous episodes because I can kind of I'm not in the background like saying, "Hey, what about that?" or "Don't forget to talk about that." But we're big on year over year results. We had some of your teammates that they ran the state championship last year, and we were just trying to kind of relay to them, how did you do this time last year? The conditions kind of change. Could be hot one day, cold another day, but overall, the magnitude of the meet is kind of what we were looking for. Are we improving when we get to the big time races? So I know Tate, you think would you finish last year outside the top 10, and this year you were able to finish in the top 10, so get all state.
Yes, it was 12th last year and then 8th this year. So
So those are just little things. I remind you guys all the time, and we try to get some of the younger runners to kind of not beat themselves up too much when they see like, oh, I didn't run a new PR. Well, how did you run in one of the toughest races in the state, which was the 4A state championship? So, all right. So the guys finished ninth. Brennan, besides his off day, we finished seventh. I think that was a pretty good kind of, hey, this is what we're going. This is where we're going, kind of with the pieces that we have, and how do we move forward. Losing two seniors and Brennan and his one of his best friends ever, Blake.
Right.
um, all right, so fast forward just a little bit. November we've kind of designated as postseason races. Eventually, the program we want to be a team that races at in all the postseason races, especially the ones that might advance us to national championships. So we did a tune-up, the Charger 2 mile tune-up in Cary. Can you both talk a little bit about how that went? It was a week after states. So
Yeah, so for me, I was really just looking to kind of boost the confidence up past states, which obviously didn't go very well. So the training had been really good. I've been really focusing on hydration and just getting my body prepared, like outside of training. And yeah, I mean, as far as the race went, I got out well. The first two laps for me were really quick. I think I came through in 2:13, 2:14, 2:15 through 800, which is much faster than I was planning on going. I was hoping to run in the 9:30s.
yeah,
So I got out right around 2:15, and then from that point up until maybe the last like two laps, especially the last lap, I just kind of got a bit lazy, got a bit comfortable, and I really just kind of let that front pack go, and I was kind of just zoned out a little bit. Um, and I closed really well, uh, probably mid to low 60s for the last lap, and I ended up running a PR of 9:45, which is a 6-second improvement from last season. So especially with that PR, given like the poor effort on my part, it was really cold and rainy that day, but it made for pretty good conditions. But apart from the poor effort, I think it's a good sign going into indoor that I'm ready to run under 9:30 and get qualified for states and hopefully place pretty highly.
nice, nice. Now before Tate, all right. So Brennan, you know, I think the one thing, bouncing back because I know we talked about at regionals you had run a 16:16, and it was at that point I think it was your second fastest race of the season.
Yep.
So it was like, all right, now we're rolling again. We're firing on all cylinders at the right time, and then we, have the state race. Going into the Charger Academy, you knew Tate was going to be racing, but there were some other big names. The biggest one, Gabriel Schmid. I mean,
hmm
he just qualified for Foot Locker Nationals. You've been in some races, I think last year in the 3200 at regionals, where Jacob Laney, one of the best runners in the state, was in our regionals in 3200. How do you how do you feel when you're at the starting line and you've got one of the best runners, and it's not your teammate but it's somebody else that's going to kind of be controlling the pace? Like how do you feel before the gun goes off, and does it change your approach knowing that they might go out at a pace faster than what you're supposed to be, and how do you combat that?
Yeah, so it definitely does change my approach. And especially with the race, it was a good field for sure. I think there were 2 guys under 920, Tate was right above, and then there were a lot in that, 925 to 935 range. There were a lot of them there, so I instead of what I would usually do is settle into that top pack, I would, settle into the chase pack and just try to pick people off as I went around, and I ended up getting drawn out with the leaders a bit too quick, but it's definitely at first, especially, last season with given, like, conference and regionals, we had some good runners, and I was not really used to running with that level of competition. It definitely threw me off a little bit, but, just kind of reminding myself that, like, I'm there for a reason, I belong there. This is a level of running that I'm gonna need to get used to. It's definitely gotten easier, and it's, just as the races went on, I've gotten more comfortable with it, and I have, gotten adjusted to that little level of competition.
Okay. Nice, nice. All right, Tate, how about you? I mean, you just came off all state at states, feeling pretty good. Hadn't been on the track in a while. And then you see Gabriel Schmidt, who you raced against him at what was one of the races?
Hagenstone.
Hagenstone. And it was neck and neck all the way to the end, or it was neck and neck all the way to the woods.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. He pulled away pretty early in that race. I'd say like just a mile between the mile and a mile and a half. He definitely pulled away from me. So
okay, so knowing you got a rematch, and I think Albert Turner was another guy. He's a
mhm.
junior. You're gonna be seeing him quite a bit. He finished what, a second or two in front of you at state meet,
Yeah.
and he was there again at the Charger tune-up. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your race and kind of how you felt going into it, how you felt a couple laps in, even all the way to the end.
Yeah, so I was definitely really excited for the Charger tune-up because I knew it was going to be fast with all the other guys that were in there. I was actually really excited to get back on the track. I kind of missed the track. It felt really nice and it was very quick. Like Brennan said, we got out really fast. I think I came through the 800, I want to say in like 2:11, 2:12, which is really, really fast getting out. And then we slowed down a little bit, came through the mile at 4:35, 4:36, and then from there the second mile was a little bit slower. I would say lap 5 and 6, I was definitely feeling it a little bit with the quick pace, and that's always the 2 laps that I forget to push the most, even though that's the two that I need to push the most. I definitely closed really well. I want to say my last lap was pretty quick. It was definitely probably about 65 or so, or a little bit less. So I
Yeah.
closed really well, and I got a 5-second PR. So I was excited about that. I saw Turner though, he was slowing down quite a bit, and I was trying to get him. I just couldn't quite get him. I think he had me by like 2 seconds. I think he ran 9:19 or so. So all in all, it was a really good race, and it just felt really good. I kind of missed the track, so
That's good. Well, I think it was a pretty good day overall as a program. We went 6 for 6 because one of our sophomores, Jackson, he ran 10:06, and then our three top ladies, Kate had a PR, Paige and Charlotte, who are both sophomores, so all three of them are returning. They all had good days. So it was kind of, y'all were the last ones on the track. You knew it was going to be a good race. I think the one thing that, especially here in 2 hours, we've got some that are racing over at JDL. I think the one thing I'm interested to see is, how well are we learning how to race? Some of our guys, or actually four sophomores that are running the 1600. Um, it's a great heat for them later on. So just like you guys did a couple Saturdays ago, and you raced really well, and you, more importantly, finished your race, and you knew, oh, I could have adjusted here. Oh, I could have gone there. And I think that reflection is what's kind of helping us continue to grow. So I'm excited to see um, these guys here a little bit later at JDL. All right. So we didn't run Dash for Doobie. We had some that ran Dash for Doobie, some teammates. And the reason why is because on Sunday morning, y'all were running at NXR and Cary. So we ran there at the Adidas Invitational. Last year, it was one of the fastest races in the state. So we went there this year, and it was again one of the fastest races in the state. So we knew it was going to be a fast morning. Tell us a little bit about the race, but I know, and then tell us a little bit more. When I went and looked at pictures, I was a little bit under the weather. Um, when I looked at pictures, I was like, why is the light off? It just seems so bright and almost like dusty. And I didn't realize how dusty. So you guys go talk a little bit about that,
Yeah,
about the race.
so yeah. So for me, I I had just gotten some confidence back from Carrie. Training was going well. Uh, had seen my teammates do some good races the night before, so I was feeling good going into it. I didn't make it into the championship race, which was a little bit of a shock, but at the same time, I was comfortable knowing that I would be competing for one of the top spots. So for me, I got out well with in the top pack. I came in right around 450, and then from there, that's so I had never ran this course before. I knew it was fast. I knew fast times had been ran there, but I wasn't really familiar with it. So I had came through 450, mainly downhill first mile, and then that second mile was first of all, I think I definitely let off the gas pedal a little bit and definitely dropped back a little bit, and I came through the 2 mile right around 10:30. And at this point, I I kind of realized like, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I have a lot left in the tank. The dust was definitely getting to me at this point too. I was even having a hard time just keeping my eyes open, like with how dusty it was. I had to like blink all the time. It was rough, but from there, I was feeling good with my like physically with my legs and stuff, and I was trying to make a move, strong push to hopefully get under 16 for the first time, and with just how the race was, I mean, it was a competitive field. It was pretty like condensed from the top, and it was really hard to just move around. And at that point, I got out well, but that second mile really slowed me down, and it was hard to move around for sure. And my third mile was definitely faster than my second, but it was just really inefficiently run with how, I was trying to move up and then I would get cut off, and then I would just do that, and then that last hill at the end was definitely tough as well. I finished right above 16:20, I believe, which wasn't what I was intending going into it, but it was a tough day for everyone, I think, and given the conditions, um, it wasn't bad, and I would say that, like, looking back, if I were to do that again, I would definitely know what to do differently next time.
Yeah, that's I know a lot realize too when you're on the track racing, there are 16 people. If for some reason it's packed up in lane one or two, you can move out to the outside. When you're in a race with 200 plus, or like this upcoming Saturday, 300 in a race, especially on some of those narrow spots. I mean, it's just jam packed. So if you try to make a move to get through, like you're saying, you're kind of wasting energy, even just a little bit here and there, trying to move up, and then all of a sudden you see there's just another big pack. So I know definitely in the big races, especially some like this Saturday where we've got some in the gold race, some in the silver, and some in the bronze. We have to be able to see where the leaders are and say I've got to get out, because I know right now I've monitored the forecast for over a week now, and it was looking promising, and then I just looked at it a little while ago again, and I was like, okay, so now there's rain coming in tonight, tomorrow. So that's going to be not a situation of, hey, I'm back in the pack and it's been so dry, there's just dust and everything. I know if I'm caught in the back, uh, now I'm just slowing down and trying to run through mud, and there's not a lot of traction. I can't go. So just another kind of reminder of how important it is if you belong up front, which both of you in your races will. How important it is to kind of get out, so you're not trying to work up through the race. You're just worried about racing. Tate, how about you for NXR? You were in the big championship race. Noah Valio, you've raced on the track and in races with him now multiple times. Is he a pretender, or is he a true contender? What do you think about him? And then tell us about your race.
No, he's a true contender. He's very good. He's very quick. I think he's 800 times like 152. So even though he's like fast at the 5K, and you don't really think about the 800 so much, he can close, and he's got a lot of strength. So I think that sets him apart. But yeah, he's a really good runner. But going into the race, I was really excited. I had a lot of confidence off of the Charger tune-up, running a PR there, and I was excited, running really fast time and getting a little bit quicker on the track. Uh, yes, at the line, I was a little nervous. You know, you had a lot of really fast guys, and I was actually, whenever we started out, I was on like the second row, so I wasn't at the front, and I was really concerned, like worried about getting out. And it was a mess because Wake Med, it's like 400 meters downhill, so everybody just gets out blazing fast, and it's a mess. And as soon as you get in the woods and we're all flying around those turns and stuff, it gets pretty crazy. And like you said, also the dust, it was pretty rough. So I mean, I ran a pretty good time. I think we came through the mile. I was right at 440, 442. Came through the 2 mile like 10:02, 10:03. So slowed down a little bit, and then I was able to close pretty well for a 15:42. So like Brennan said, it wasn't the times that like we were quite hoping for, but I don't think it was the day that anybody wanted either. So all in all, we'll take it in the race experience. So it was a pretty good day, even though we weren't getting the times we were hoping for.
Yeah, yeah, and that it's hit or miss. Just like this Saturday, we're going down to Alabama because it's literally the fastest, if not one of the fastest, with the competition too. I mean, just when they posted the actual races, and to see 10, 15 people that have run 15:18 to 15:24, how tight it will be because everybody there is so similar in the races. And to know all of a sudden, like, weather is going to possibly change that. I mean, you just look at the first few years of it, and then last year. I was looking at that earlier today, just trying to see where 60 some people went under 15 minutes to last year, how many went under 15, and how that might be the same. I know early on in the season we were like, all right, these are some races where we know it's going to be a fast day, the weather's good, those are our PR chances, because once we get to conference, regionals, and states, it's all about how can we just be consistent, how can we place well, and as a team and individually. So before we move on, NXR, I know I shared with some of the people that ran, um, individuals, just random individuals from North Carolina, some of the names that we knew, that as kind of an example of, if you were running consistent, like even if it wasn't new PR, you're in one of the toughest races. Yeah, you paid to race at NXR, but everybody that was in your races deserved to be there. Like you had to be in those races based on your time. So um, everybody was worthy of the championship race, or the next race. What do you think that it says to you when you see others that maybe have posted faster times, and maybe they struggled at an NXR? Does it kind of give you a little hope that, hey, I ran a consistent race. It wasn't my best, but this person I know is a lot, maybe faster than me in a 3200 or 1600, and they ran 30 seconds slower than I did? Or does it give you kind of any consolation for the day, or what? Share a little bit on that.
Yeah, for me, I think I was the first person to run for our team, so I didn't really know what to expect going into it, and when I finished, I was 20 seconds off my PR, and originally I was pretty upset, of course, going into
What?
it for the sole reason of running fast,
Yeah.
and you don't do that. I was pretty upset at first, and then as as the day went on, I kind of processed, and as watching the other races, I realized like the conditions were just tough. Like it was dusty, it's really packed. The course, even though it is fast, it's a tough course. I mean that hill 2 times is really brutal. So seeing those results, like I think Luke Liming was a big one who he was under 15 a few times, I think earlier at that course earlier in the season, um, and then at NXR he ended up running I think high 15:30s. So that's just one example of many, but it's definitely comforting in some ways to know that I wasn't the only one, and that just seeing the various results, it can definitely bring confidence back to know that you're not the only one that struggled on that day.
Tate, how about you? I mean,
Yeah,
you've run tons of 1540s this year.
yeah,
If you look, though, I think the one thing, if you look at your profile and you look at the races, it's just been consistent in big time races. You know, you won conference, you finished second to Thomas of Cuthbertson at regionals, and then at states you improve. We're all about those same times. When you see individuals that you know have committed somewhere, they're seniors, and maybe they haven't had as consistent races. I know we all kind of compare each other. Do you take any comfort knowing like, hey, you know, maybe it wasn't the time I was looking for, but the performance was consistent for me to say, all right, I won't beat myself up too bad about it.
yeah, for sure. Like sometimes it might be hard. Like I'll get upset, if I don't run quite a fast time that I want. But if you look in the grand scheme like of everybody and you realize that everybody's in the same boat and nobody really hit that time also, it makes you feel a lot better. And like you were saying, like other people step into the line. I don't get so much nervous anymore. I used to a lot the past 2 years. And this year I've kind of like stepped to the line with a lot of those bigger top guys. And I'm just like, I'm here with them. This is where I'm supposed to be, even though you'll see the names like, for example, Noah, he committed to state. He runs like a 15:45K. I mean, just blazing
14,
fast.
I think 1440 maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did I say 15?
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
15.
Sorry. Yeah, 14:40, which is really, really fast. It definitely makes you nervous, but whenever you step to the line and you realize you're in a race with them, you're like, I deserved it and I worked hard for this. So that's something big for me this year. I've lost a lot of like the nervousness and just went out there to compete. So
That's good. Do you think because you've been able to grow your beard for this winter that's helped? Or no?
no, I don't think so. We're working on it.
Oh, okay. All right, real quick before we move into um, thoughts kind of on indoor track, and then of course racing on Saturday, and then this indoor season. Um, Talking about frustration, like name some races where you were extremely frustrated with your performance and just kind of how you were like out of your body. I mean, as far as like maybe you could just go if there was no consequence, you would just like go rip a hurdle in half or is there any race that kind of stood out where you just you know did terribly or at least in your head and you just wanted to go Hulk on somebody?
I think for me, this season at least, it would definitely be conference. Because prior to that, I at City County, which was mainly the same people, it was a 2 mile cross country, and I had finished second right behind Tate. And then following that, I had some good races. Then I had some sickness and a minor injury that we worked through quickly, but that definitely I think it was more of a mental setback than physical, but, following the next few races, I had some pacing efforts for my teammates, and then I was starting to train like normal again, had a good workout, I think it was that Monday maybe or that Saturday, and then the race was Wednesday or Wednesday, I believe,
With that.
and then I just didn't perform. I think it was still a mental block, with the injury. I think I was telling myself it was a lot bigger of a deal than it was, and that put a mental barrier on myself, kind of limiting my confidence and my expectations, and then the effort just wasn't really there for me. I think I ran like 16:40 something, and I finished, I wanna say 6th when I was really hoping to get at least top 3, hopefully runner up. Um, I was definitely frustrated that day for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I looked at some pictures. It's funny that you said that race because I was looking at pictures again, doing a little graphic for Running Lane, and I saw you, Coach Page of Mount Tabor. He was handing out the medals, and he was smiling at everybody, and he was smiling in your face. I don't know who caught the picture, but you're just and
Yeah.
I know you. He's a throws coach at Mount Tabor, so I don't know if you were trying to try out for their team when you walked back and you kind of shot putted your medal. So it's natural to be frustrated and get upset about it. I think you've learned along the way. It's not too much what happens in that moment. You kind of learn from it, and then it's all right. So what are you going to do to bounce back?
For
And I
sure.
think you did that at regionals. But Tate, how about you? Is
Mhm.
there? I know you're pretty even kill, but I heard a lot of people, man. You're out there bush hogging cornfields to blow off some steam. What's a race where you just felt like you're about to just put on your boots and hightail it out of there?
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna probably say regionals, honestly, because after conference, I had a really good confidence booster going into it. Winning conference, I was really excited for regionals, and to be honest, Thomas just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really know a whole lot about him or the year before. He just really stepped up this year and dropped
Yeah.
some really fast times early on. So I think for me, like during that race, I got out with him, and I mean, from the get go, he was moving. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a race, like this is, we got to pick it up here. And I want to say we got to the 2 mile, and I think I gave him like a 10-meter gap or so on me, and then from there I just kind of faded off a little bit. I don't remember what he ran. I was 49 or 47, so I want to say he was like 36, 37. So it was
Yeah,
about 10
I think so.
seconds, about 10 seconds or so. So I mean, that's probably the biggest race for me going into it, because I just didn't realize that he was going to go out that fast. So that's probably the most frustrating, because I'm very competitive. So like if I
Right.
can beat you at something, I'm going to try to beat you. So that's just me.
Well, oh yeah. Well, he's definitely, I'd say, put his name on the Midwest region, especially come outdoor track. For it's not just, oh, Tate's the number one returner, Cedar from Reynolds. Of course, we knew some Marvin Ridge guys, but I think even a couple days or earlier this week, he ran 9:25, and his teammate, who was, I think it's Justin. I can't remember.
Hmm.
It starts with a B, but he ran 4:29 in the 1600. So that was one of the meets that they ran. I think it was on Tuesday, whenever it wasn't freezing cold. But definitely, those are going to be guys that it's not cross country anymore. It's individual, come indoor states, and same thing with outdoor, especially when we get to outdoor regionals. So those are definitely guys that we'll see how their 4x8 looks, um, especially with some guys that they feel like are kind of similar to you two, kind of anchors of the team. So moving from there, indoor track. How do you think the transition with starting indoor track is going? Still knowing that you've got one last race for cross country, and then I think next Thursday you are scheduled to race at JDL in the Forsyth Series. Just talk about a little bit about how indoor track is going. What's the difference between the last few days or weeks and fall? I mean, the weather's crazy. It was freezing last night, and how that kind of affects your training.
So yeah, for me, I'm really excited to get going, because I do love cross country, but it's felt like a long season for sure. And just from that Charger tune up, that 2 mile, I kind of realized how much I missed the track, those shorter events, and I feel like especially with indoor, more than anything, you have a lot more control over like the circumstances. You don't have to deal with weather. Everyone's in the same conditions. It's all controlled. So it's really a lot of personal accountability that you can have during the races, and just controlling what you can and really executing. And as for the training, we had a great workout Monday. It was brutal, out of nowhere, kind of a surprise workout. Some mile repeats. Um, it was definitely tough, but I'm liking the training. I feel like I'm really getting better, and it's definitely pushing me. So I have some big goals. And hopefully hopefully I'll throw down some fast times, get qualified, running my first track state championship, and big things all around. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, you're first? Like you've never been to a state meet? For those
Not
that don't know.
Not in track, no.
Not in track. So you're saying you've not always been a runner that's run under 10 minutes or running the. I mean,
No.
what was your 1600 last year? I know, but for everybody in the indoor.
Last year indoor, it was right at 441, I want to say.
Yeah. How many times
Yeah.
did you run that?
Uh, it had to have been like I think 4 times maybe 441.
Yeah. Well, what was one of the biggest things before we moved to Tate? Last year you ran the 1600 different times. It wasn't like back to back to back, but they were just different races. And it almost seemed like every race, something new, a new experience came, right? Um,
Yeah,
from you were neck and neck at a race, was it the Raider Invitational or something in December? And then we went up
yeah.
to Liberty in January, and you were jockeying for position all race long, and then we come back. It was Mondo Invitational or something like that, and then it was just another race. So,
Hmm.
I mean, what how do you think that helps you going into this indoor season, knowing like I was in 3 1600s, ran the exact same time, but they were completely different races. Like how are you going to take what you learned last year and help you improve how you race this year?
Yeah, so at the time, definitely was frustrated for sure. I remember at Liberty, uh, we had just, I think I ran the mile maybe on Friday, and then woke up in the 4x8 on Saturday. Me and Tate messed up the baton exchange, dropped the baton, and then we had a 500 that just didn't go great. And I remember telling you, I just feel like this was kind of a wasted opportunity, whatever. And you said, it's not a waste unless you make it, and all things are learning experiences. And I think that's really important to take along with me. And it's definitely good to just it helps you improve. I mean, not all things are going to be successful, but everything can be a learning experience if you make it. So I think one thing that I'm definitely gonna try to focus on is just being more efficient. I remember I would countless times just try to make a move, surge up, and then I would just tuck in on the rail and stop my momentum, and that would zap a lot of my energy. So I just need to focus on just being more efficient, being more just disciplined with my racing, and I'm looking forward to it. I think I've learned a lot over these years. Freshman and sophomore year, I didn't get the best experience just because I wasn't very fast. I think started out with a 24-minute 5K, 5:30 mile, something like that, and then didn't really get super good until junior years when I started becoming pretty decent, and then just picked up there, got a lot of learning experiences, and I'm ready to apply them and drop some fast times.
Good. Very good. Tate, how about you? Um, Brennan mentioned the workout on Monday, kind of as we move into the indoor track season and get away from 5K towards faster, shorter races. How'd the workout go for you on Monday, and what are some things you're looking forward to for the start of indoor?
Yeah, the workout went good. It was definitely a surprise for all of us in the moment. It was really good though. I really enjoy workouts like that. We had 4 by mile. I think we were 440, 457, 515, and then 535. So they were pretty quick times, and it definitely hurt in the cold. It was pretty brutal. But I think we all got a lot out of it, and it was really beneficial for the team overall. Going into track, I'm super excited because, to be honest, I'm just kind of burnt out with 5Ks at this point. I like changing it up with some shorter, fast stuff. And like Brennan said, we dropped the baton at Liberty last year, and we kind of hung it up from there for the rest of the season. And I've really missed that a lot. The 4x8's got to be one of the most like adrenaline pumping, fun races that you can have. And I'm just hoping that we can carry that to the States this year because the last time that we did was states my freshman year, and that didn't go too well. So hopefully we can turn that around and drop a really fast time and do well with that. So
All right, all right. I'm glad you segued to that, even though this isn't scripted. All right, so you're talking about your freshman year. You were a freshman. There were three seniors on there. So the states didn't go well. How did regionals go? And then tell us why states didn't go well.
So regionals went actually amazing. We pulled something off that I think everybody else didn't think that we could do. They were not expecting it at all. Nate got out really fast. I want to say he ran like 157 that day for the first leg. He
Yeah.
got out really well, got a little bit of a gap for us, and then from there it was Gareth opened up the gap. Then I was third leg, handed it off to me. I was able to maintain that gap, and then from there it was just Jay pumping as hard as he could with Andrew Burrell chasing him down. I remember after my leg, I was like dying, but at the same time, I was trying to jog around and see where Jay was and see where Andrew was. So that's probably one of my best track moments that I've had from experience. And then going on to states, we were so excited. I was really nervous though as a freshman. We come in there and we get to the tent all checked in, and we're wearing hip number 1. And everybody's looking at us, as the top dogs. And we got out there, and the race from the get-go, Nate had a really bad start. Somebody dropped a baton right in front of him and actually cut into his lane. So he was knocked off the course, and from there we knew it was going to be a little bit messed up, but Nate still continued to run a really strong leg. Gareth ran a really good leg, and then it got to me, and gosh, we were 600 meters in, no 700, and it was the last 100 coming around the curve.
Yeah.
I was fighting this other dude off, and I was looking up, pumping the arms, and just stepped on the rail and went down from there. And I just remember getting up and like pretty much jogging to the line at the end, and I was just super upset about that. But so that's kind of how it went. So hopefully we can turn that around this year and do really well. I'm excited.
It was a tough day because I think we'd run 8:18 indoors at the state meet, and we were trying to figure out like, all right, everybody's going to get better, but how can we drop 20 seconds and get to the Tabors and the Marvin Ridges, and Hoggard was up there, and I think Green Hope was the other one too.
Weddington too.
Well, yeah, because and Weddington ended up finishing 5th at regionals. I think they gambled a little bit, ran their B team, and and Mooresville, I think, is the one that beat him at the end. That guy ran like a 156 or something final leg. But to know you're going in, we run 758 at regionals, and then at states right from the get-go. I mean, I was up in the stands and I saw Nate, and when you went and looked at the video, it was Hoggard that was in lane 2. When Hoggard went to run, when the baton was in their inside hand, and whoever was in the same lane next to him, so maybe the 14th seed or 15th seed, they had a quicker arm and they hit the baton out and it went into lane 1, and the Hoggard guy went into lane 1 and went right in front of him. So I remember it was like it was yesterday. I don't know why I asked you to bring it back up, because now it's just tough memories. Knowing, especially that not only were you, like, we were rolling at that time, we were trying to duplicate the same kind of race. We knew Nate was going to kind of sit on the leaders. We knew he was running as well as he had ever run in his life, coming off a high 157, or maybe I think it was maybe 158 low or something like that. But he still ran 158 high after being in last place 100 meters into the race, because he had to pick the baton up off the ground. So just knowing how close it is, and we've kind of seen last year indoor, we had some sickness with one of our runners, kind of abandoned it. Outdoor, we knew it wasn't the best decision as a team. It was better for you guys to run your individual races. So we see kind of now going into this indoor season, it's like we thought we would be back very quickly, and you see it's going on a year and a half, 2 years later. So I think this year with the indoor season, Blake, he's running the 500 here in a little bit. It's going to be fast, but that's, we have to be used to running those fast kind of starts, especially the 500. And then our missing piece right now, Ian, he was our third fastest 800 runner. Incredible shape. He is a swimmer, but he's still been running. His work ethic is unbelievable, and he's got the strength of a giant. So I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be able to do. But next Thursday, you are going to run the 1600. Without sharing too much, Well, it don't matter. You can share too much. I think, do y'all know anybody that's going to be in that race with you? And what are some thoughts? What are you trying to do? Especially going off of Monday, where it wasn't a time trial. We knew it was going to be, you know, a lengthy kind of workout where you had to push yourselves at the beginning, and then you also were just kind of flushing it out as you were helping others that were starting their first 1600 repeat. Next Thursday, what are those 8 laps? Or do you think people are going to just be sitting on you, Tate, or Brennan? What are you going to take the lead, or y'all going to be talking to some of the other runners in that race if you still know anybody that's what are your thoughts for next Thursday?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first mile in a long time. But some of my good friends, Andrew York and Cedar, they're both from Reynolds. Both some good competitors in the county. They'll both be hopping in that mile and trying to get qualified. And maybe Will Downs from Atkins too. I've known him for a long time. Used to play soccer with him. He's a really good runner too. So it'll be a good day, us five, and we're all just trying to get qualified really. So it's pretty much just a time trial out there. And me personally, I would just love to just stay on Tate as long as I can. And I mean, I think I'm confident in my ability right now. I feel like I've been training really well. And I really think that if I just stay on Tate as long as I can, I can just fight anyone else off. I think I have the best close out of anyone in the race. And I think I can get the state mark that day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Tate, how about you? You're pretty much at the point where you're not really sitting on anybody besides, maybe less than 10 people in the state. Uh,
Hmm.
the races, how have you wrapped your mind around, the times that you need to get? Do you think it's an advantage that you're kind of going to be in control of a lot of the races that you'll have during indoor season, knowing I got to get out, but then I need to settle in so that I'm hitting my paces? Or deep down, are you still kind of worried that maybe somebody's just kind of sit on you and use you, or do you feel confident in your ability?
I'd say it kind of goes both ways, honestly, right now, because I've only had a few races now, like with conference and whatnot, and during cross where I've gone out and I've kind of just done my own thing and kept a pace. I know that people have been sitting on me, and that always worries me because they're just using me to try to outkick me. Because that's what I've always done the past 2 years before, and it's always worked. So now I'm in that position, and it definitely makes me a little bit nervous, but I have a lot of confidence from our training. It's been going really well, and I think I've gotten a lot stronger and quicker. So I think as long as I can get out, and even though people sit on me, I think that I'm able to close pretty well now. I'm really hoping for a fast 800 time this year because I think I've gotten a lot more strength and speed compared to last year, especially not running an 800. So looking forward to the 1,000 for sure. But the 1,600's got to be my favorite race, I'd say. So I'm super pumped for Thursday, and hopefully we just go out there, and I want Brennan to hold on as long as we can, and we just get some state qualifying time. So I'm looking really forward to it.
Good. All right. I know we're getting to the end of the podcast for today. Name one runner on the team that you kind of see yourself, um, or name like a freshman, or it could be even a sophomore. Name somebody on the team that you kind of see a little bit of yourself in, whether it's good or bad, and why.
Yeah, for me, that's a good question. I would probably have to say probably Jackson, just because I mean we both kind of had that slow start. He ended up running really good towards his track season freshman year. He actually broke 5, which is a year before I did it. But yeah, so I definitely see myself in him, and just that he's working really hard. He's one of the top guys out here. He's one of the leaders out here, and he's just improving a lot every day. He's really grinding, and he's throwing down some fast times, and just that progression. I see myself in him a lot in that way.
Very nice. Tate, how about you?
For me, I'm gonna say probably Prakash, and I think I'm coming off of that for more like the mindset, like how we train. I think we're both pretty like really focused. I know, especially like on race days, like Brennan's also in this category, but especially Prakash, I feel like we're just like very focused whenever it comes to the race, and we're very locked in on our drills and everything else. Where a lot of other guys might talk and they're
Mhm.
just trying to keep the nerves down. I just feel like we're always locked in and we've got like the same mindset whenever it comes to focusing on our training and races. So
Very nice. All right. Let's see. What's um what's one thing that you think, or what's a prediction for today's race at JDL? So we've got some running the 500, some running the 1,000, some running the 1,600. What do you think? I know Yai, Prakash, Matthew, George, David, they're all running the 1,600. On the ladies' side, you've got freshmen Riley Hutchin and Molly Sheik. They're both going to be trying to break like 6 minutes. Alex is running the 1,000. On the ladies' side, Lily Connor's in the 1,000 again. So what's a prediction that you see or that you'd like to make for here in the next 2 hours? What's going to go down over at JDL?
For me, I would have to say I think Blake's 500. He's always I think he's more so put this his own label on himself, but that just he's not a fast guy. He's not he can't run the 800. He hates running the 400, but he's a strong runner, and I think he's going to surprise himself. He's been working really hard. Um and I think in the 500, although it's not maybe his favorite event to run, I could see him dropping a really fast time and surprising himself just with that strength that he's gotten over the years. And then as for the 1600, I think Prakash, he's breaking 5. Yeah, he's breaking 5, of course. They've already done that in outdoor, but I think they're just gonna. I think everyone's gonna surprise themselves. Honestly, we've all been training really well as a unit, and that workout Monday went really well for a lot of people. So I think it'll go really well. Um, yeah.
Good. Tate, how about you? Any surprises, guys, ladies? Any
the first
predictions?
Yeah, the first one that came to mind was Alex because he was actually talking about his 1,000 yesterday. And he was talking about how he hasn't broken 3 yet. I think he can definitely break 3. I think he
Mhm.
can go 250. Maybe, I don't know, maybe faster than that.
Yeah.
I say 250 is a really good number though, because we were chatting it up yesterday at practice, and he was talking about how he hasn't broken 3 yet, and we were like, dude, you can definitely break 3.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest one that came to mind. With the guys 1,600. I think everybody goes for sure low 450s, if not under 450. I think every one of those guys are capable of it. Compared to last year where they were like, I know most of them were like sitting right on the edge of breaking 5. There was a lot of like 5 flat to like 510 times. So I
Yeah.
think they can definitely drop at least 15 seconds this year.
Mhm.
On the lady side, you said it's Riley and who else in the 16?
Riley and Molly, they're running the 1,600. I know Lily's getting another crack at the 1,000. She ran that last Tuesday. She led for the third and fourth lap. We were joking because when Paige got up there, they were supposed to kind of work together, and Lily thought there was somebody coming up to challenge her. So she was racing Paige
Hmm.
for 2 laps, and then finally Paige took the lead, but they both kind of were exhausted. So she's going to get another crack at the 1,000. Her sister is running it, Olivia, her and Katie. I think if she's feeling a lot better, they're going to be in a great heat to kind of do what Charlotte did last week, which was to kind of take the lead and then realize your seed time is not where you are. I made sure that I didn't adjust it too much because I wanted them to be in a race where they were going to compete for the win and the heat and it be appropriate rather than just being a faster heat. So
Yeah, I think the ladies will definitely break 6.
yeah,
6 minutes. That would be awesome. And then for the 1,000, I don't really know their times so much, but if the competition's better, and I think as you were saying, like Lily and Paige, they were like almost fighting each other off. I think if they just realized that they were working together, they could have ran a lot faster to push each other. So I think the 1,000 will go really well.
good. All right, last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Since we're in the holiday season, name one of your favorite memories growing up this time of year. Go ahead.
Mm. I think for me,
There's so many to choose from, right?
yeah, no, I just had to conjure up the memories. But yeah, so I had a good group of friends growing up in my neighborhood, and we had this friend's house, Nolan. He has a like huge hill in his front yard. I mean, it's just massive. And we would all like the parents would like make a fire and they would just hang out and all the kids for like hours. We would just walk up this hill and then sled down over and over and over again. We'd do that so often. Every day it snowed pretty much. And that's another good memory. And then I just really enjoy spending time with my grandparents. I don't see them too often, especially nowadays, but I really like spending time with them. So those are probably my top two.
Very nice. Tate, how about you to finish this up?
So I'm gonna say I remember it's been several years ago, but it actually snowed on Christmas one time, and snow with me and my brothers, that's always fun. You know, the sledding and snowball fights and the bloody noses and all that you get. But that's always fun. I think I'm trying to think. Candle trimming we have at church, so we have like a candlelight service and like a what's it called? Love feast and buns
Yep.
service. So that's one of my favorite for sure for the year. That's got to be my favorite service with the music and all. And then every year, my family on Christmas morning, you know, we check this tree, and then we go to my grandparents for a breakfast. And so that breakfast has got to be my favorite one of the whole year. Got to be one of the best meals. So just spending time with family and friends for sure.
Mhm.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, this is just another episode of Getting Spiked with Reagan Distance. I think we had a great chat, some great insight from two of our top runners, senior Brennan Kaplan and junior Tate Shore. Thank you guys. I think this might be one of our best recordings ever. We might have to just look at the factor of why it might be one of the best. No, I'm just playing. Big thank you to Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Mr. Johnson does a great job providing an opportunity for programs, especially at the high school level, to kind of give a little insight into their program. So each and every week, follow along with us. I know during this last month, we've kind of had some off and on weeks with holiday season or us actually having championship races or things going on. But listen to us on your favorite, whether it's Spotify. I know you can check out your Wrapped. Is that the new thing? Check out your 2023 Wrapped thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We're also on YouTube, so you can check out the video there. I don't think we'll break any phones. But as always, well, not as always, but I'm Coach Vera. And as always, remember, I'll leave you with this. Don't be afraid of success or getting spiked. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.